You're listening to Murder, Not Murdering with Erin,
and Autumn,
a true crime podcast about murder and murdering.
But we are not murderers.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Murder, Not Murdering with Erin and
Autumn.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have to change it up every once in a while. Otherwise, they'll expect
You should just change your name every time. No one will know what's going on.
I mean, remember that one time in high school when we were playing volleyball and someone's brother was like, Autumn won, and I was so mad because I thought I won, and I go, who's Autumn? And you were like, that's you.
Yep. You are Autumn. Although sometimes it's kind of funny. There are a few people though recently that have listened to our podcast and then been like, oh, your podcast partner, Amber. And I'm like, oh no, it's Autumn. Do you get Amber a lot?
Yes, always. In fact, it's so common that when people call me Amber, I answer to it.
Yeah, you just go with it.
So at this point, I don't even correct them. I'm like, yep, that's me.
Sometimes on the phone, I'll get Ann when I say, and then I have to do a hard R, Erin.
Yeah, you're like, not Ann. You're like, sure, it's Ann. It's Ann.
Whatever. Let's just get through this conversation.
Right? Like, just, it doesn't matter anymore. That's my name.
Yeah, that's all. Well, Alcatraz was awesome. We were really excited to record that one. That was really fun, a fun episode for us.
It was so much fun. And what I've actually been really enjoying about that episode is that we've been getting so many DMs on our Instagram about it, about people being like having already gone to Alcatraz and really enjoying hearing some stories about Alcatraz. And then people have been sharing pictures from Alcatraz with me of their time. And that's also awesome. If you follow us on Instagram, we've been posting pictures on our Instagram. And if you go to my Instagram, which you can find on Murder Not Murdering Instagram, there's a highlight on my Instagram called Travel. And if you click that, it actually shows everything we did on that trip.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So I've been telling people who have been DMing us to check out that highlight on my Instagram because it's really fun. There's tons of pictures on there. Yeah. And it's not only just the Alcatraz, but it's also what we talked about, the Winchester Mystery House and the ghost tours. They're all on that travel highlight.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get it over to our highlight on our page. So unfortunately, it's just
I'm like a straight up grandma when it comes to that stuff sometimes.
So I'm just directing people to my page.
That's why I can't do the TikTok. Autumn makes our TikToks.
I do. And one of our TikToks is up to like 1,600 views.
Yeah, it's the Alcatraz one.
Yes. And I'm pretty proud of that.
Now tonight we don't have a theme. So you're just going to have to hold on to your hats.
Yes. I don't know Erin's story at all.
I have no idea what Autumn says. All I do know about her case is that one of our listeners DM'd and asked if she was going to cover it. And she just happened to be covering it this week.
Yes. It was so funny. They're like, oh, you're going to love this one. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually doing that one this week. So they're pretty excited.
I have no idea what it is. So I went right back to my old timey crimey, but there's no dismemberment. So sorry to let you down.
Erin, I am disappointed.
I know, but it's a very old case, somewhat famous, but because of the age, I'm hoping that lots of you don't know it.
Even if I do know a crime, I
was talking to our listeners, Autumn. Okay.
Oh, I was about to give my opinion and say that even when I do know a crime, I love hearing other people's takes on it.
Yeah, I think too, sometimes like we hear of a crime or know some details, but not the deep dive.
Totally.
So then you get more.
I never get sick of I mean, maybe I'm weird. I don't know. I just never get sick of hearing about crime.
Nope. Always love to hear. Especially the more fascinating they are, the more I'm like, tell me everything.
Yes, like don't leave anything out. I'm here for
So
this.
I want every gory detail.
Yes. And a bonus this time,
Oh,
I am totally sick free. I'm healthy.
oh, that's right. Congratulations on being
I
healthy.
know. I finally got rid of my sinus problem and I can smell a little bit again.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I know. Not so much for, it was kind of nice not being able to smell everything for a bit.
Yeah.
But I mean,
No Dutch ovens from Dustin.
that's where I was going with it. And then I was about
I
to
knew you were
like
gonna.
not say it. And then you went there because you know so well. And I'm like, yep, that's actually true. That is why I was thankful, because boys are gross.
Yeah, totally. Girls can be gross too, but we hide it way better.
Oh, yes, we hide it. Boys are openly disgusting.
Yeah.
And sometimes even proud of it.
That is true. Although, as someone who owns a business where we have to clean bathrooms, girls are fucking gross.
Oh,
trash the bathrooms all the time.
Actually, you've never told me that. So thank you for sparing me the details for so long.
Now I'm going to send you a text every time it's something gross.
Honestly, she will do this. This will be a thing now.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I already have one to send you. I'm not going to say it on air because it's actually so gross that I don't want to subject all of you to it, but I'm for sure going to torture Autumn with that.
Great. I am so looking forward to that.
Yeah. All right. So let's get started.
Yes. Let's move along to something equally as gross. No, just kidding.
Oh, wow. Well, you don't know what it is, so we'll find out.
Well, I'm going first.
Good. Go already.
Okay. Jeez. See, Erin is bossy. She's the boss of me, apparently.
I'm a boss. I'm a bitch. I'm a boss. I'm a bitch.
Anyway. On to the show. I am doing the story of Maribel Ramos. Maribel Ramos was born on November 22nd, 1977 in Fullerton, California. She enlisted in the U.S. Army in 2000 and served 8 years, including 2 tours in Iraq. She was honorably discharged in 2008. She served during the time of 9/11. Dustin actually did as well.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Dustin's official date of joining the Army was actually 9/11, 2002.
Oh, wow.
Exactly 1 year after the 9/11 attacks.
That's crazy.
Isn't that really crazy timing? People used to like give him hard time for joining a year after that happened, but it just so happened that was the date that he joined.
Yeah.
wasn't meant to be exactly
planned out to be that particular day.
No.
Yeah.
So he was serving at the same time as she was, which made this that made this a little more personal for me.
Wait, they didn't know each other though, yeah?
No, they did not.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
That would be an even deeper connection, but no, they did not.
Okay.
Maribel was very close to her younger sister, Lucy, and her niece, Giselle, and stayed in contact with them consistently during her time in the Army. In 2008, after Maribel had decided to not re-enlist, she decided she wanted to go to school to get her bachelor's degree in criminal justice, which I feel is a girl after my own heart. I missed my calling.
Well, we're honorary detectives.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Yeah, we gave ourselves that title.
We did. We made ourselves that.
No one honored us with that except for each other.
Yes, but I mean, I count it.
Yeah,
it counts. Sure. It counts to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on my business cards from here on out.
Okay. I mean, I approve.
All right.
She moved to the city of Orange in California, and she got an apartment with her mother while she earned her degree at Cal State Fullerton. Unfortunately, her mother got very sick and passed away. leaving Maribel in the apartment alone.
That's sad.
It is very sad, which, as you can imagine, would be pretty expensive for a college student to maintain the apartment alone.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Maribel had asked her sister to move in with her, but her sister declined because her daughter was already settled and in school, and it wasn't good timing. But she did tell her if she was not able to find a roommate, she would move in with her. Maribel put an ad on Craigslist for a roommate, and Kwan Chol Joy, who went by Casey, answered the ad. He responded, I am a Korean single professional male. I am looking for a small apartment or a private room with kitchen use, and your place sounds perfect. I have a 10-pound dog Yorkie. I am a social drinker, non-smoker, straight, and I like to keep things clean. I am easygoing and get along with most people. He told her he was from Knoxville, Tennessee, but was looking for work in California. He seemed to be a really good fit for the Army veteran. He had a little dog. She had a little dog. He was really educated, and he seemed to be a really nice person. When he comes to look at the apartment, he also gets to meet Maribel's sister. He tells the sisters that he has no family, he has never been married, does not have any children, and he wouldn't be bringing people back to the house. And since he was a bit older, he would be a very quiet person. She feels like she has found the perfect roommate to fit her life at the time, and so he moved in. Over the next 18 months, Casey and Maribel become friends, and he also became close to her family as well, coming to family dinners and meeting her extended family, as well as spending time with her sister and niece. Casey had even confided in Lucy that he had feelings for Maribel, even though Maribel had a steady boyfriend at the time, Paul Lopez.
I feel like I saw that coming.
I know, right? Lucy knew her sister had not reciprocated the feelings and tried to let him know as kindly as possible that was just not going to happen with her sister, that she was young and wanted to start a family, and they were at different places in their lives. On May 3rd, 2013, around 10:40 a.m., Casey called her family to let them know that she hadn't come home the previous night and that he was very worried about her. Having also missed a softball game, which was very unusual for the veteran, her family, unable to reach her as well, reported her missing to the police. Police conducted a search of the apartment and found nothing out of the ordinary. Maribel's car was still there, but her phone and purse were not. The police look at her phone records and see that she had talked to her boyfriend Paul the night of May 2nd, which would be the night before she went missing. When questioned, Paul said he was at work that night, but he did say that they did speak that evening and that she had mentioned that her and her roommate Casey were arguing. The police asked him if she mentioned what they had been arguing about, and Paul said that it was regarding him not being able to pay rent for that month. He said that Maribel wanted Casey out of the apartment by the next day.
Well, I don't know that you technically can do that, but that's pretty intense. That means that it was really escalated.
Right. And that's what
that you would ask him to go the next day makes
right.
it like it was really escalated.
Right. Because telling her he can't make rent that month and then saying, I want you out the next day.
Yeah.
You're right. That seems very extreme.
Yeah.
Casey had been cooperating with the police and had been pleading for her safe return. He had never mentioned that they were arguing, and if they had been friends, they were curious why she would be so harsh and want him out of the apartment so quickly after finding out he wouldn't be able to afford rent that month.
Exactly.
See, we're honorary detectives.
Nailing it.
Nailing it every episode. The police did notice that he had scratches on his arm, but he explained them away as coming from a thorny bush at a local park. Casey even gave the police his phone and laptop so that they could examine them and clear him of being involved in her disappearance. Which, if he's guilty of doing something, why is he providing them with his phone and computer?
Unless he already prepared for that. You know, like if he's guilty and he's already preparing, like I know that if I turn that over, it could absolve me.
True. Like I look really innocent by doing that.
Yeah, just getting ahead of it so you can be like, see, I gave you everything you've asked for.
True. That's a good point. They questioned Casey about what Paul had revealed to them, and he admitted that they did argue, but that he had left to take a drive and cool off around 9 p.m. And when he came back, she was gone. Police didn't want to just go off of his word, though, and contacted the apartment complex. And you know what they found out?
Cameras?
Yes, I knew you'd get that. They had surveillance cameras and they had footage from the night she went missing. Surveillance video showed Maribel dropping off the rent check at the front office around 8:30 p.m. on May 2nd, after the phone call with her boyfriend, Paul. And it also could possibly make Casey's story of her being home when he left at 9 p.m. for his drive and coming back, her not being there, a real possibility.
Interesting.
Casey continued to cooperate with authorities, and he pleaded for Maribel's safe return to the media. He was adamant that he had nothing to do with her disappearance and stated, "I just need her back. I need her to come back because she's my best friend. Actually, she's my only friend, my only family member I have. So I miss her."
That kind of feels obsessive to me.
Right. Like,
yeah.
Only her? You have no other friends?
I mean, maybe he didn't have any other friends. It just seems kind of obsessive to speak of her that way in this moment.
I agree with you.
But again, at the same time, he could just be being emotional because his friend is missing, you know?
Right.
We're going to play the other side of it.
Right. And I mean, we aren't here to judge how people react in different situations, but totally. I do agree it does sound a little obsessive. After doing some digging, detectives are really starting to focus on Casey, and a disturbing fact has come to light. About 11 days before she went missing, Maribel had called 911 to let them know she feared her roommate after a conversation that they had.
Whoa.
She was audibly very distressed.
See, now that's a big thing right there.
Mm-hmm. This brings Casey Joy to the top of their list, as if he wasn't already there, in my opinion.
Totally.
Now remember, the police have Casey's phone and laptop at this point. So he was regularly visiting the local library to access the internet and use the computers there. On May 17th, 2013, during one of his visits to the library, detectives monitor his activity online. Casey looked up, "How much time does it take for a body to decay?" He also was looking at maps to view a desolate location in Maheska Canyon.
Yeah, that's super suspect. Although you don't want to see what my history is because I have to research murders. So.
I honestly was thinking that the other day. I'm like, dude, if anyone looked at my phone or any of my computers.
Yeah, I have to look up stuff that's like, what is this used for? What's the, all of that stuff. Ooh.
I've looked up things like, why does someone plead guilty? Or like, how do you look innocent? Like, they're like,
yeah, no, always. I'm always looking at like different types of old timey poisons and shit.
Yes. Or like crime scene photos. I'm like, these people are probably like, what is wrong with her?
Loads of it. So, I
Yes.
mean, but it is very suspect that this all just happened and he's looking that up specifically.
100%. It's very suspect.
Yeah.
Detectives believe this is the break they need and send authorities to the area he was looking at on the map to search. Within 45 minutes, in a shallow grave, the remains of Maribel Ramos were discovered.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, her remains were too decomposed to be able to confirm the cause of her death. Maribel was only 36 years old at the time of her death.
That is so sad.
I mean, I get kind of emotional thinking about it, and I try not to cry because a veteran who went through all of that and then ends like that, like,
yeah, it's awful.
Heartbreaking. It's just, it's like I said, it's a little personal to me, especially since Dustin had been deployed. Dustin was on 4 deployments.
Yeah.
2 to Iraq, 1 to Afghanistan, and 1 to Germany.
Yeah.
And I just think about him coming back from all of that and not being able to live his life to the fullest. And that's just like gut wrenching.
Yeah. After doing something selfless.
And she was weeks away from graduating with her degree.
Yeah. Ready to
only
take the next
weeks.
step. Yeah.
It's just like she had everything to look forward to. And her life was tragically cut short.
Yeah.
It's just devastating. Casey Joy was arrested on May 17th, the day they had discovered her remains. And he, of course, claimed to be innocent. In July 2014, the 55-year-old Casey Joy stood trial for Maribel Ramos's murder. The prosecution stated that the roommates had an argument regarding rent, which led Casey to killing his roommate. They also claimed that he was in love with Maribel and was disgruntled by the fact she did not return his feelings. The defense claimed that Maribel dealt with paranoia and PTSD from her time in the army, and she might even have been suicidal. They believe she died of a medical condition or that she killed herself and that Casey panicked and disposed of her body.
Like we have said before, nobody fucking panics and gets rid of someone's body. Yeah. Or cuts them up and hides them under a chicken shed. Just saying.
Especially,
that's not an appropriate response, especially to somebody he's supposedly in love with.
Right. And call her parents and say she's missing. I mean, not her parents, but her sister.
Yeah.
Like, no,
bullshit.
You're creating a story. You're not covering something that panicked you from your friend committing suicide in front of you. That's just not what happened.
That's just not what happens.
No. In September of 2014, Casey was found guilty of second-degree murder, partly because of the state of her body and not being able to positively identify the cause of death. He was sentenced to 15 years to life, which I don't feel like is
that's not enough
15, at all.
I think not.
No. At his sentencing, he said, "I miss Maribel more than anyone. I think about it. I've been here for about 440 days in jail. I think about her almost every day. Family wants me to apologize, which I cannot apologize for something I haven't done. Maybe someday the truth will come out. Maybe I'll just die inside prison." He remains incarcerated at Correctional Training Facility in Soledad, California. He is now 63 years old and is eligible for parole in February 2023. Next year.
I hate that so much.
That is the part that I'm like, that effer better not get out.
No. I mean,
he's deranged.
Generally, they don't usually, when they are eligible for parole after a murder, they don't usually let them go.
I really hope that's the case.
I mean, well, we should keep an eye on this. And, as long as we're still doing this podcast next year, we can do a follow-up maybe on that one.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely have been. This case I've been following for a while. Yeah. I first saw it, which reminds me, these are my sources. I am Yahoo's News, an article by the Cinemaholic, Oxygen, Netflix Worst Roommate Ever, ID Channel's See No Evil, and Newsweek. And I saw it on the ID Channel's See No Evil like a few years ago, and it just stuck with me. And then on Netflix recently, there's a series called Worst Roommate Ever.
Yeah,
and
I think I saw that pop up as a suggestion.
Yeah, and it's season 2. It's the second episode that this story is covered on, which has brought a lot of attention back to it, which I'm kind of glad about, because I hope people are like, no, don't release this guy in 2023. But that's also one of our listeners messaged me and was like, hey, I saw on Netflix's Worst Roommate Ever, the story of Maribel Ramos. I think you'd find it really interesting how Casey was caught. And I was like, wow, that's insane, because I'm about to do that story, which also has your story, Dorothea Puentes.
Oh, yeah.
She's the first episode, and this is the second. So I thought it was kind of funny when I was watching it, and I'm like, hey, that's my story.
I know. It was like, I feel like too, they did like an entire like movie on Netflix. And I was like, damn it, I just covered Dorothea Puente, and then they did her right afterward. I was like, damn it, Netflix.
Right?
Always trying to copy me.
I know. They're just listening to our podcast. You guys can sponsor us if you want, please.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. All righty. So we are going to take a quick break, and we will come back after we hear from our sponsor, and I will tell you a very creepy old-timey crime.
Can't wait.
All right, we are back. So before I get started, I want to do a quick disclaimer. This case
no.
I know. This case does mention an attempted suicide. I also want to mention that we are very body positive here at Murder Not Murdering, but there will be talk of weight gain and being ridiculed for it. I know both of these topics can be very triggering, so I wanted to get it out there right away. My story is the case of the lustful murderess, Jolly Jane Toppan.
Okay, I already can tell I'm gonna love this.
Are you intrigued?
I am intrigued.
She was born Honora Kelly around 1857 in Boston, the youngest of all girls in a poor Irish immigrant family. Her mother died of consumption, aka tuberculosis, when she was 1 year old. Her father, Peter Kelly, a tailor, became known as a drunkard and possibly abused his daughters, as they have been often seen with bruises.
Ooh.
Yeah. Peter began to lose his mind following his wife's death and was known as Kelly the Crack. Crack being not what we're thinking of, but short for crackpot, as though he would, because he's losing his mind.
Oh, I was like, what is a crackpot? But it's like someone who's losing their mind, like slang back then.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's also said that the tailor had sewn his own eyelids shut.
Oh,
but there's
God.
Yeah, there's no information confirming this, but it does go to show what his reputation was like where he lived.
Like all like the most elaborate stories and whatnot.
Yeah, they just was, they're just talking about like crazy Kelly, and then it just escalated from there.
Oh man.
Yeah. In 1863, Kelly took his 8-year-old Delia and 6-year-old Honora to an orphanage called the Boston Female Asylum in the city's South End. The orphanage placed girls in respectable families when they turned 10. Honora became an indentured servant to Miss Ann Toppan of Lowell, Massachusetts. And in case you don't know, an indentured servant does not get paid for their work. They only get room and board. The Toppans passed her off as an Italian girl whose parents died at sea because the stigma associated with the Irish immigrants of the time was so bad.
Oh, man.
They also renamed her Jane Toppan, which sounded a lot less Irish. She did well in school and had many friends. Her sister Delia remained in the institution until 1868, when she was placed as a servant in Athol, New York. at the age of 12.
Oh,
Yeah.
12?
Yeah, they're placed in these homes after they turn 10 to start their work.
Oh my gosh.
Later, she turned to prostitution and eventually died as a destitute alcoholic in squalid conditions. As for their other sister, Nellie, all we know is she was later institutionalized, but have no records of her after that. Rough times for the Kelly kids.
Yeah, like, wow.
Yeah. Jane had hoped that she had finally found a family with the Toppans. Unfortunately, she was mistaken. Anne Toppin despised the Irish and ridiculed her for her nationality and weight gain. Jane's foster sister, Elizabeth, who came from the same asylum that she was assigned from, was treated the exact opposite. She was doted on by Anne and fawned over. She had constant gifts and was told how pretty she was. Eventually, Anne Toppin legally adopted her as her own daughter.
What? Why? And not the other girl?
Because Jane was Irish. Jane was still a servant.
Oh my.
This drove a lot of animosity for Jane against Elizabeth. They came from the same place and were not treated equally. Even when going to school, Elizabeth was well liked and Jane struggled to make connections. Jane began to act out. She started telling outrageous lies. Her father sailed around the world, and her sister married an English nobleman, and her brother was decorated at Gettysburg by Abraham Lincoln. So really kind of far-fetched.
Right. I was like, dang, you just went all out, girl.
Yeah. She would also tattle on the other kids and had a very vindictive attitude towards anyone who did not believe her stories. She was known to be very gossipy and vengeful. At age 18, Jane Toppan graduated from Lowell High School. The Toppans freed Jane from her indenture and gave her $50, which was the contract agreement from the orphanage. But she stayed on in the household as a servant. When Anne Toppin died shortly after, Elizabeth took over the house and inherited everything. Though she continued to treat Jane as a servant, she was also very kind to her, and she did call her her sister. Elizabeth married a church deacon, Oramel Brigham, who moved into the Toppin house. Jane was very jealous of Elizabeth, and she struggled to find a suitor since she had a very low self-worth. She was also overweight and emotionally ate to try to help her feelings of inadequacy. Remember, Anne tormented her over her weight throughout her childhood, which only added to her issues.
That's so sad.
I know. And it's also partly why, she just didn't feel like she had any worth, and being kind of pitted against her sister made it only worse.
Mm-hmm.
By the 1880s, Jane did find a suitor, an office worker, and they went as far to plan a wedding. However, Jane was left at the altar, and he skipped town, supposedly marrying another woman. She herself said this act is what led her to kill. And I quote, "If I had been married, I probably wouldn't have killed all those people. I would have had my husband, my children, and my home to take up my mind." Of course, I don't believe any of that. And I think that would have stopped her from killing anyone, but that's something that she did say.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, Jane became obsessed with dreams at this point and how they might predict the future.
Okay.
She also became obsessed with reading smut novels.
What novels?
Smut novels, like sexual, erotic novels.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've never heard it called. That's interesting.
Yeah. In 1885, she left Elizabeth's and went to become a nurse, as she believed she would never find someone to marry her.
Oh.
Yeah, I know, sad. Elizabeth told her that she would always be welcome in her home. At 33, Jane Toppan started her training as a nurse at the Cambridge Hospital. There she earned the nickname Jolly Jane for her friendly, outgoing personality. Her patients loved her, and she was known to she was known to be a suck up to her instructors, who also loved her eager attitude. But she really liked to gossip still. and celebrated the dismissal of students she didn't like. She
Jeez.
lied. She lied and said that the Tsar of Russia had offered her a nursing job.
What?
And she continued to steal small things.
Why does she pick like the most famous people to insert in these like tall tales?
I know. Many of her fellow students grew to loathe her. The hospital administration grew concerned over her obsession with autopsies. She was obsessed and showed up to every autopsy, taking notes feverishly. They ended up equating that to a curious fascination and disregarded how she behaved. This was the beginning of her fixation on death and her erotophonophilia, which is a sexual arousal around death. They also
the heck
better buckle up.
I didn't know there was a word for that, but of course there is.
Of course there is. They also didn't know that she was experimenting with morphine and atropine with her elderly. Oh, wait, hold on. With morphine and atropine with her elderly patients. It is said that she was so powerless her whole life that the power of taking lives was intoxicating to her. Jane would induce a coma with morphine. Then she would give them atropine, which causes dryness of the mouth, blurred vision, vivid hallucinations, confusion, headaches, dizziness, fatigue, palpitation, abdominal pain, nausea, and vomiting. So they would seem like they were really sick and needed to stay in the hospital.
Yeah,
Then she would wake them up and put them back down from morphine over and over and over again. It was a cycle of torture. According to Jane, she did this to over a dozen patients. She also admitted to climbing into their deathbeds and snuggling them and fondling them. It was very intimate for her. One patient who actually got away was Amelia Finney. She had an operation in 1887. Afterwards, she said Jane Toppan gave her a dose of a bitter medicine, causing her to lose consciousness. Jane climbed into bed and kissed her all over her face, but then something startled her and she stopped. Amelia thought that it must have been a dream and went home the next day, never to mention it again.
Wow.
Jane was never caught in the 4 years that she was there, and again, still highly liked by the upper staff, and her patients seemed to love her. The doctors recommended that Jane leave and go to the Massachusetts General Hospital for further training. This was a big confidence booster for Jane. Not only was she literally getting away with murder, but she was being promoted.
Right? I was just about to say.
Yeah. Massachusetts General Hospital was the first place Jane ever used ether. She targeted patients that liked her and began her regular past behaviors of gossiping, lying, and stealing. By 1890, she was still well liked by the upper staff and was placed as the head nurse if her boss was gone for any reason. But Jane broke one major rule. She left the facility when she was on shift. They always had to have a head nurse there in case of emergency. She didn't think anyone would have noticed that she left. And frankly, she was being kind of cocky about the whole fucking thing. But she had made enemies from her fellow staff members who she would gossip about. And upon her return, she was dismissed from her job. This was a huge blow for Jane. It's still unknown how many people she killed at Massachusetts General, but it was probably very many. She had been just about to graduate. Jane was very angry. Nevertheless, in the fall of 1890, she returned to the Cambridge Hospital and persuaded them to allow her to take the test. She passed with flying colors. She got a job at the Cambridge Hospital, where she had worked before, but it was very short-lived, as many of the nurses knew of Jane's reputation for gossip and overall shitty treatment of her fellow coworkers. She was dismissed in early 1891 for administering opiates recklessly. Surprise. She was back to her old habits and experimenting on opiate effects on patients. This firing did not deter her. She became a private nurse, and her superiors gave her glowing recommendations despite her opiate scandal. She quickly became one of the most successful and highly recommended private nurses in all of Massachusetts.
Are you kidding me?
Nope. She made $25 per week when the average woman made only $5. Even though she was successful, Jane kept lying and continuing to steal. While many of her employers were bothered by this, they just chalked it up to her poor Irish upbringing, which is really super fucked up.
That is super.
But if it gives you any idea of what it was like for the Irish when they were immigrating here, it was fucking rough. With her success, she began to drink a lot of beer and she would make new friends. But with those friends, she enjoyed turning them against each other. She always had a desire to control people. She also still needed to keep up her lustful behaviors, so she had to find new victims. About 3 years had passed since the last time she had taken a life. She still felt she had a nagging sexual desire to hold people and caress them as they died. In May 1895, she killed her landlord. She said he'd become old and fussy. She slowly poisoned him in his tea, then began to take care of him with a cycle of morphine and atropine in and out of a coma until finally killing him.
Hold, please. Do you realize, first of all, that's insanely crazy, like insane.
Yeah.
But we have a connection.
Well, May, and then also landlord.
Yeah.
Also, she wasn't able to graduate. She was not able to graduate. She did eventually, but those are all things that are all similar.
Yes. Isn't that we always have this little connection.
Yeah. So Israel Dunham, her landlord, died on May 26th, 1895. Israel's wife, Lovely, was devastated.
Her name was Lovely?
Her name was Lovely.
That's lovely.
I know. Jane was by her side to comfort her. By 1897, Jane decided she was done with her as well. Lovely died in the same way as her husband. Jane's biggest murders were about to come in the next 2 years. Jane was visiting her sister Elizabeth and husband Ormel. They were happy to spend time with Jane and frequently hosted her visits. Jane still harbored all the resentment for Elizabeth from their childhood. Jane determined that Elizabeth would never get a happy ending. While Jane was on vacation in Buzzards Bay in the summer of 1899, Elizabeth had complained of depression, and Jane invited her to come down to the Cape. After a few days of catching up, Jane took Elizabeth to the beach for a picnic of cold corned beef, taffy, and mineral water, laced with strychnine. Elizabeth became very sick, and Jane moved her in so she could care for her. She began her usual torture, and finally, Elizabeth Brigham died on August 29th, 1899. This was the first time Jane killed out of hate. I held her in my arms and I watched with delight as she gasped her life out, Jane later said.
Oh my God.
Jane told Ormel that this was, oh, wait, here, let me do that. Jane told Ormel that it was her last wish, that she had her sister's gold watch and chain. She immediately pawned them because she's a garbage person. Jane also tried to seduce Ormel, but was unsuccessful.
Oh my God, she's the worst.
I know. Her next victim was Mary McNear. She didn't know her very well, which was odd because she loved to get to know her victims. But she killed her really quickly. Very different MO than she normally would. They assumed this was because she had a sexual need, similar to many male serial killers. Not very often do you find women serial killers that have that specific, like, feverish need and they just let it take over. In 1900, she killed her friend Myra Connors. She told the dean at the Archaeological Society where Myra worked that she had been training Jane to take her position when she fell ill. So the dean took her on. He gave her a free apartment with this arrangement. Again, this job didn't last long, and she was dismissed for her incompetence, as she did not have any idea what she was doing because she didn't get trained for any of it.
Wow.
Yeah. It was discovered she was also stealing money from the school as well.
Of course.
Yeah. Now, she didn't have a place to live or a job. It took her a while to find something. But by early 1901, she nursed back an elderly couple from gastrointestinal issues caused by Jane, of course. Then she took the job of their housekeeper. After theirs seemed to be caught being drunk on the job, Jane also drugged her to make her appear intoxicated. Eventually, she made enough money to move out and didn't kill them, which is kind of awesome for them.
Wow.
However,
I can't.
by 1901, she moved in with the Davis family in their cottage. She got a discount for being a nurse, but she couldn't keep up with the rent. Alden Davis's wife, Maddie, came to Cambridge to collect, and Jane offered her some tea. AKA, she killed her with a cocktail of morphine and atropine, toying with her for 7 days. She wrote to Alden saying his wife had fallen ill and that she would care for her. Maddie died July 5th, 1891. Alden was grief-stricken. Jane offered to move in and help with the elderly Alden Davis to take care of him. Jane tried something new at this point, a different way to kill him. She tried to burn the house down 3 times.
Jesus.
The fires were quickly put out by the other family members living there, their daughters who were grieving. Jane decided at this point she was going to kill the whole family and went back to her usual cocktail. First, she killed Genevieve and said that she had committed suicide and must have gotten into her medical supplies. 2 weeks later, she killed Alden Davis, and 4 days after that, the last daughter, Minnie. What's really creepy, Autumn, is that as she cuddled Minnie as she died, she forced Minnie's 10-year-old son to cuddle her as well.
Stop.
It is thought that she did this for revenge because she had asked Minnie to forgive her debt as she had been taking care of her father, but Minnie refused. At this point, the estate and all of the dealings for the burials fell on Paul Gibb, Minnie's father-in-law. He suspected the sudden deaths of an entire healthy family had to do with foul play. He consulted a toxicologist and actually found one of the best ones in the entire state and got a judge to order Minnie's body exhumed. The investigation revealed she died of morphine and atropine poisoning. Now, a Massachusetts state detective was following Jolly Jane Toppan. He also suspected her of killing the entire family of Alden Davis. Jane returned to her town of Lowell and tried again to seduce Ormel, Elizabeth's widower husband. It seemed she wanted Elizabeth's life. She moved into Elizabeth's house, but as a maid or like a helper. Her next victim was Edna Bannister, Elizabeth's sister-in-law. She thought she was just in the way, so she killed her. Jane decided that she might be able to win Ormel's love by poisoning him, then nursing him back to health. Because
That is a genius plan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm keeping that in my back pocket.
Yeah, that didn't work either, though.
Dang it.
Then she threatened to claim that he had gotten her pregnant and said that she was going to spread that rumor. As you remember, he was a deacon in the church.
Oh, that's
He
right.
was threatening to claim that he had gotten her pregnant.
That's right. So it'd be even worse coming
Yeah.
from,
An infuriated Ormel ordered Jane out of his house. She then tried to commit suicide with an overdose of morphine, but failed and went to the hospital. And that I find fascinating because she killed people with morphine all the time. How did she not know the right amount?
Do you think she did that on purpose for attention?
I have no idea. Or she chickened out and didn't fully go through with the overdose. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
In the meantime, the entire Davis family were exhumed, and all of them tested positive with morphine and atropine. Police arrested Jane in Amherst on October 29th, 1901. She was 47 years old. Jolly Jane Toppan went to trial for murder in the summer of 1902. She confessed to her lawyer that she killed at least 31 people she could prove, but perhaps as many as 100.
Holy cow.
She pled guilty due to insanity. They had to determine, though, if that was true. The doctors did believe she was unwell. She was found not guilty of any of the murders due to insanity.
This lady said, I killed probably 100 people. And they're like, no problem. See you later, honey.
Well, no, they were sending her to an asylum. So Jane finding out this news, though, was overjoyed. She figured she had fooled everybody and would get out of the asylum in months. She was sent to the Taunton Asylum in Massachusetts. She would stay there until she died. She became very paranoid that someone would poison her as revenge. But she did calm down years later and died in that asylum as an old woman at age 84 on August 17th, 1938. Today, psychiatrists say that she is one of the most unusual serial killers in history. Like many serial killers, she did have an unstable childhood, but unlike most female serial killers, she did it for the sexual thrill and power.
Jeez,
As her victims lay dying, it's still going on him.
Oh my God.
As her victims lay dying, she got a powerful erotic charge from holding them and caressing them and fondling them. She was known as the lust murderess who couldn't resist the excitement. And she admitted that she aspired to have killed more people, helpless people, than any other woman or man who lived. That was the story of serial killer Jolly Jane Toppan. My sources were Wikipedia, Murderpedia, and the New England Historical Society.
I need to know. How did you come across this story?
I look at really weird shit. Don't look at my search history.
Because you said it was like well known, and I mean maybe it's a old-timey crimey type
Yeah,
of.
I feel like some of the old-timey crimey people might know it, but it is not as well known. But she is one of the most prolific female serial killers of all time.
That is incredible. That's like an incredible fact.
Yeah.
Glad she put us in that category.
Kept on killing more and more people. But that last quote when she's like, I just wish I could have killed more people, helpless people, and more than any other man or woman. I'm just like, oh, snap. Right. She was doing a pretty good job at it when she was like racking them up at the hospital.
Yes.
Like, damn.
Elizabeth didn't have her stay being an indentured servant, did she?
No. In fact, it was noted how kind she was to her. And even though she was still a servant in the house, she was still super kind to her and called her sister and told her she'd always be welcome there. You can always come back. Like, no matter what's going on, just come. That's fine. Come back.
And she's like, I hate you, bitch. Gonna kill you.
Well, but she didn't hate Elizabeth for what Elizabeth did. She hated her because of what Anne created. Right.
Right.
Lady Anne, she constantly compared the two of them, talked about how beautiful Elizabeth was and how, I mean, honestly, and a lot of the things, it's like she would say how fat, that word is very triggering for me, but she would say how fat she was and about how she's not as pretty as Elizabeth and constantly compared them. And then she straight up adopted Elizabeth and didn't adopt Jane.
That's right.
There was a lot of that going on. And also she grew up with her dad who was like losing his mind, and they grew up in like severe poverty and probably beaten as a child with him. It's just like, yeah.
It's like I want to feel for her.
Yeah.
But Oh,
But then she like killed like 100 people or more.
yeah. What? But
Yeah.
it's like a lot of people have had horrible childhoods and
Mhm.
have overcome so much and don't kill people.
Believe it or not.
I
mean,
mean, so it's like I don't
but
know. I want to
the
have sympathy for you, but you killed over
the
100 people.
whole thing that they say is that it this is just speculation that psychiatrists, I was listening to another podcast, I can't remember which one, and they were talking about psychologically, they think that maybe Elizabeth like represented something like happiness to her. So she wanted to take that happiness away from Elizabeth, but she felt like if she didn't get with her husband and live in her house and do all of that, then she never really would have achieved happiness.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, the whole thing is really fucked up. I mean, she's just in the way that she would do it, where she would have them go in and out of comas and then wake them up. And yeah. And then she would lay in bed with them. And
She was twisted.
yeah, she was and she was very sexually charged with all of this, all had a very sexual meaning to her. And because she would, when she was younger, she was so powerless. She did this also to hold the power, that she could feel powerful doing that. That's also why she would be so shitty with her the other employees, because she would like pit them against each other and tell rumors about them and everything, because she wanted to hold the power of manipulating people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
She was quite a lot of a lady. That's Jolly Jane.
Love that. I actually really enjoyed that story.
It's a fascinating one. Once I got started, and at first I was like, okay, nurse gone bad, whatever. And then I was like, oh my God, oh Jesus, what? And then it just went from there. But yeah, that was a really interesting one. We definitely had some connections in there. Even like the month of May was in mine too.
Mm-hmm. As you were, and when you said that she killed the landlord, I was like, there's the connection.
And then also that she ended up not being able to graduate the first time, and she was like really upset about it, but she did end up graduating. It just kind of sad that Maribel, in your case, was unable to graduate, but this freaking murderer made her life doing that after she was able to graduate. It's just kind of sad.
It's so incredibly sad.
So we're going to leave you guys with feeling sad and maybe a little bit fascinated. So if you want to learn more about these, either of these, please check out our Instagram page, because we will upload pictures of them so you can get to see what, my horrible lady looked like, and a little bit of extra information on that, as well as you get to see what Maribel looked like and how, more about her story. So do follow us on Instagram. You also, if you have any ideas or any cases you're thinking of that you really want to hear, DM us or send us an email at info@murdernotmurdering.com. Outside of that, thank you so much for listening. We're happy to be back. We're happy Autumn's healthy. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.